Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV Profit, and this is part of our series Budget 2024, The Takeoff. We're here post the interim budget talking to one of the important people with respect to the revenue parts of the thing, the CBIC chairman, Mr. Sanjay Agarwal. Very many thanks for joining us today, sir. It started on, one might say, a bit of a disappointment. There were no big tax changes, direct or indirect tax changes. But there have been a few notable additions in the finance bill, which I want to come to first. One being the ISD becoming mandatory. Now, can you help break it down for our audience what that exactly means and what it will entail?
This input service distributor, basically they can be big companies which may have their presence in several states. So once they have presence in several states, they are treated as distinct person in those states. So when they obtain some input services, and that may be billed to their headquarters, head office, but the service is used by their branch offices or their establishment in other states. So earlier there was no mandatory provision for distribution of the input tax credit taken by them to their branch offices. So now in the budget, as per the recommendation of GST Council, amendment has been carried out in the GST law to make it mandatory for them to distribute it to their branch offices in the proportion it is used in those offices.
Okay, so this follows the GST Council approval that has already been given in a previous meeting.
Yes.
Coming to the penalty levy that has been notified for, the non-registration of packing machines used in the tobacco industry. Why now? Is this also following a previously approved GST Council thing? Just to get the significance of it.
Yeah. A group of ministers committee was set up to look into the tobacco sector issues, and one of the recommendations made by them was registration of the packing machines on the common portal. So accordingly, regulations have been notified for registration of these packaging machines. Now another section has been inserted in GST law, that is section 122A. And in case they fail to register the machine on common portal, now the provision has been made for imposition of penalty of rupees 1 lakh per machine.
Okay.
And the machine can be seized and subsequently confiscated.
And is there a timeline by which this registration has to be completed?
This registration has to be completed as soon as the machine is installed in the factory.
As soon as it is installed. Okay. So, and another thing I want to come to the figures now, the collections. We've had a wonderful year for GST collections, very steady growth that we're seeing. And in her speech, the budget speech, the finance minister also mentioned about how it's a steady 1.66 lakh crore every month. Coming on that, is there a figure perhaps for FY25, the average collection that you're expecting, considering that the revenue growth has been very good?
I would like to mention that in the current financial year, the GST collections are very robust. There is a very healthy growth, and in 3 months, the GST collection, gross GST collection figure has crossed the mark of rupees 1.7 lakh, and in the month of January, it was 1.74 lakh crores. That is the second highest collection, GST collection ever. Indeed. So that gives us confidence that this year will end up with robust GST growth, and accordingly, the targets have been fixed for next financial year. And in this current financial year, the average monthly collection of GST is 1.67 lakh. So we are expecting it to be something like 1.7 lakh crores
by the end of this fiscal.
So that may become a norm in the next fiscal.
Okay, a 1.7 number. Wonderful, sir. Another one I want to ask about is the RE of the custom duties and the union excise. We understand that there is already a custom duty cut, which is being also reflected in this, and also global trade slowdown has impacted, in fact, custom duties. When we understand the RE now, if you look at the FY25 considerations, what is your outlook? What are the factors that you have considered? Are there any changes other than these factors when it comes to that figure that you have set?
While fixing the BE for FY25, we have gone by the collection figures of GST duty in the current financial year, taking into account that the customs duty collection budget estimate is 2.5% over revised estimate of customs duty in the current financial year. As far as central excise duty is concerned, the next year budget estimate is 5% higher than the revised estimate for central excise duty collection for the current financial year.
Okay. And no new factors considered other than the
while
ones?
fixing the target for central excise duty for next financial year, we have taken into consideration the growth in consumption of fuels, petroleum fuels. So that has been taken into consideration. Accordingly, the target has been fixed for the next financial year.
If I may go a little out of syllabus and go into perhaps some of the pressing GST concerns that seems to be there. One, of course, was the spate of notices that were, observed. Many of the companies also reported on their exchange filings that, they have received a tax demand notice. Now, following this, there was a lot, there was addressing saying the government is cognizant of it, and you had also spoken to us about how this is happening because of a particular timeline. Also, that was one of the factors to be considered. But we saw a circular come out very recently of the department informing the field formations to exercise a little caution. One, where is that coming from? And now what happens to a lot of these cases, many of them they're choosing to litigate? What do they look forward to now?
Yeah, in fact, what happened that there were bunching of time limit for issuance of show cause notice for the financial year 17, 18, 18, 19 and 19, 20. And because of the time limit coming to a close, notice were to be issued within the time limit for 17, 18, and the adjudication was also to be completed. That's why you might have noticed as part of notices issued to the taxpayers. Maybe many of the notices have been issued because mismatches were found in their return filing. And other than that also there may be because of a scrutiny or in audit certain infractions have been found, and because of that the notices have been issued. But I can tell you that less than 1% taxpayers are selected for return scrutiny or for audit. So the numbers cannot be very large. So, but on certain sectors, wherever certain contraventions have been noticed, and it has been found that taxpayers have not paid the tax in accordance with the provisions of law, so notices have been issued. Some of the sectors have taken it up with us, and matters are also under examination.
Is there maybe a figure that we can get on perhaps the total notices or perhaps the number?
That will be difficult to give because notices have been issued by Central Tax Administration as well as by State Tax Administrations. So it is difficult to give you the figure.
I understand, sir. Another component of online gaming is, of course, the new GST rate that was, put effect from the 1st of October. This was clarified multiple times. The industry had some confusion, but it was clarified. Now, how do we see? Are companies compliant with it? What has been the reporting trends you've noticed from 1st August for this new, proviso that has been laid GST on online gaming?
I'm happy to tell you that after these new provisions have come into effect, from 1st of October, there is a robust growth in revenue collection from the online gaming companies. In fact, it has gone up 400 times.
Okay.
400%. So rather 4 times. The revenue collections have gone up. So that means the online gaming companies are doing very well. And the collections, GST revenue collection has also gone up tremendously from this sector.
Any range, if not an exact number, any indicative range?
On an average, previous to these amendments, we found that it was something like 370 crores. Now it has gone up to 1850 crores.
Okay.
So there is a huge jump in revenue collection from the online gaming companies.
Interesting. On the last one, and I want to ask this, considering GST 2.0, now it has been 6 years, there have been many changes, it's an evolving taxation system every year. If there is a GST 2.0 as we call it, what do you envision in it? What is the way forward for GST?
I can say that when GST was introduced, since it was a new tax and it was difficult for everyone to understand, and maybe the IT system was also not fully ready. So the work was in progress, but over a period of time the IT system is very much in place, and many policy changes have also taken place, and accordingly return filing process has been made sequential. That has led to better compliances by taxpayers. Apart from that, wherever there was any kind of litigation or any clarification was required. So their GST Council has taken a very proactive stand, and in those issues, clarifications have been issued to bring uniformity, transparency, and to reduce the litigation. These clarifications have come very handy. And I can also mention that wherever there was a demand, like to encourage MSME sector, earlier on e-commerce platform they were not allowed unless they take the registration. But now that threshold has been removed in case of intrastate sale of goods. So these are the steps which have been taken to promote the small businesses. Apart from that, there has been now a special composition scheme for small service providers. So all these are very progressive steps which have been taken over a period of time, which have led to ease of doing business in the country and promoting the MSME sector. Apart from that, to increase the compliances, department is nudging the taxpayers wherever mismatches are being found. They are being informed by online portal so that they can on their own, they can do the self-check, and in case they find that there is anything which remain deficient on their part, they can rectify even before the department can point out to them.
Right. So facilitation, inclusive and including MSMEs and other people, and of course better compliance. Can we say this is the thing?
And apart from that, the threshold for issuing e-invoices have gradually been lowered, and now it is those who are having the turnover of 5 crores, they have to issue the e-invoices, and these e-invoices get auto-populated in the outward return and in their GST return. So that is the way it is being done. Technology is being used. In fact, the input tax credit which would be available to them, that is getting auto-populated from the returns which are being filed by their suppliers.
Right.
So these are the technological advancements which have also been taken for making the life easier for the taxpayers.
And on that note, my last question to you is really a message for our viewers. Yesterday you had spoken about how the return filing is in fact increasing, and the department is leveraging technology and AI to help enhance the experience for the honest taxpayer, put them on a level playing field. Any message for our viewers to end on that note?
I would like to convey to the taxpayers that wherever they are having any genuine difficulty, department is with them. And GST Council and the mechanism is very conducive for resolving the issues. The other thing is that department is trying to obtain as much information as possible from them in their return filing, so that subsequently no issues have to be faced by them.
Right.
And one thing I would like to inform that or convey through your channel, that lot of department is now having lot of data, and lot of 360-degree profiling of the taxpayer is being done. So with that deep data analytics, it is very difficult to escape if in case somebody is trying to hide something. So sooner or later it will come to the notice of the department. So it is better to comply or rather than to suffer subsequently.
Comply always. So on that note, I think thank you so very much for talking to us. Always a pleasure talking to you. It's been I hope it's also been just as fruitful for our viewers. And on that note, you've been watching NDTV Profit. Stay tuned with us on our next exclusive.